already you can see the effect that has as Stephen Little jinks out from behind the slipstream, and in typical Caterham fashion is going to pick up the lead of the race. Now what he's doing is punching the hole in the air, and those behind get hops over the curve as he went through. Nelson there, top of the race, is starting to open up a little bit of a gap from the car that's there in fourth place, Stephen James. Then we get the two Spires there after the RB7s, the motorcycle engine cars, John Cutmore, race winner in Mag 7s in the past, and David Watson, two teammates, are sitting there just that little bit further back. You can see the flashes on the number 85 car, which is David Watson, has the yellow flashes to the roll hoop, whereas John Cutmore is on the Daimler orange flashes to the roll hoop as they sit there in what is 5th and 6th positions over the start-finish line. They'll thread their way. So first lap completed. Lead advantage was just 7/10 of a second. And for the moment, Stephen Nuttall is managing to hang on to this lead of the race. I thought, coming down the centre straight, the start-finish line, that Christian Pittard might have the opportunity to perhaps just close up in the slipstream and try and sneak his way through, but he is at the moment, if anything, falling away very, very slightly from the race leader, who, if he's able to break the toe, then those behind are going to have to work together. They can't afford to squabble anymore. So Nuttall leads Pittard from Simmons. Then the number 40 car in the hands of Stephen James. David Watson ahead of John Cutmore. And then Tim Davis completing the top 7. Richard Carter in 8th place. James Tubby in 9th and completing the top 10 at the moment. That's Ryan Lewis that sits there in 10th position, albeit already after one lap of racing, already 9 seconds off the lead. But of course, all of these cars are in different classes. It's largely done on power to weight ratio. So the most powerful cars sit in the likes of classes G and H. And those with lesser power sit in the likes of classes A, B and C. And you can see which classes they're in by the coloured sections if you're watching the live stream over towards the left-hand side of the screen. So down the Bentley straight, our race leader looking to try and pull away ever more. Second shy of pole position. Moment holding his own in the lead of the race. Pittard will capitalise on that slipstream opportunity down the Bentley straight. He's just about within towing distance, but Christian Pittard, pole sitter and the driver's currently there in second place. His attention to rather drawn towards what's going on behind him. The fact that he's being hounded by Ben Simmons, who is a former MSVR Track Day Championship champion. Through and over the start-finish line they'll go, leading 3. Then the gap before we see the car there in 4th place, which is Stephen James. 2 Spires go through as well. David Watson leading John Cutmore by about a second at this stage. They will also be fighting over top honours in Class I at the moment. And keep your eye towards 8th place as well, because that's where we see Richard Carter. He's currently leading Class F, and that is for those cars with a power output of between 230 and 260 brake horsepower. So now the lead gap looks to have closed up a bit this time through. Over the start-finish line they came. Stephen Nuttall was leading by 9/10 of a second, but yeah, through the first sector of this lap, Christian Pittard has got the hurry up and has started to close that gap down, and is bringing with him Ben Simmons again. So the top 3 starting to get closer to each other again. Saw a slight mistake there from John Cutmore, who almost outbraked himself heading in towards Agostini. Still hangs on to 6th, and there we get a change for second as diving through up the inside going in towards Oggies goes Ben Simmons. That puts Christian Pittard, now the pole sitter, down into 3rd position in the orange car. So they work their way onto the Bentley straight. Remember, this is a 40-minute race, which means we do have a pit stop window, and pit stops are scheduled to be between the 20th minute of the race, so snapping in the middle is when we'll see the pit window open and remain open for a period of time, and during that period of time, cars have to come in to the pit lane and serve their pit lane penalty and change drivers in the case of some of them. Just remain stationary and wait for 90 seconds to elapse before they don't work their way back out down pit road. Stephen Nuttall leading the way. Ben Simmons looking to try and close in him. Almost ran a little bit wide there coming out of Murray's. Just raised the dust briefly. Need to stay within the confines of the circuit, and Ben Simmons is pushing hard to try and close up the lead advantage. Ben Simmons, that lap through, has just popped in the fastest lap on the race in his pursuit of number 46, the race leader. Ben Simmons has managed to pop in at 1 minute 55.307. You can see that the gap first to second as they go through the Wilson hairpin was down to about a couple of Caterham lengths on the apex of the corner. It will stretch a bit as they head down the straights. up towards Ritchie's. That's car number 100, which is Ryan Lewis. Having a good little battle, actually, is Ryan Lewis. Car he's doing battle with is the number 77 car, and that will be Simon Lancashire. So Simon Lancashire has managed to sneak his way through into the top 10 now, because he was just outside of the top 10 as they came over the start-finish line that time through, and that is for class position. That's for 3rd and 4th in Class F. So Simon Lancashire at the wheel of the number 77 car heading in towards Agostini, having propelled himself inside the top 10. Can he now start to pull away a little bit more from the car that sits there behind? It looks as though he's got the pace at the moment just to not only get himself inside the top 10, but his boss racing repair car try and pull away. Distance though as they head out onto the Bentley straight. These cars, which are certainly not the most aerodynamic, are they, Caterhams? It is a big hole in the air that they make. So as they head towards the bottom section of the Bentley straight, we can keep an eye on what's going on ahead of them, because this is the 42, and this is Richard Carter. Leads Class F at the moment, Richard Carter. Lime green, the 42 car making its way out of the bomb hole, and up towards Coram is leading Class F and currently in 8th position overall. Those are the good fights as well. Further back, this is Rob Cooper in the metallic red car, fighting away with the car that sits directly ahead of him, which is Neil Hinson. So that's another good little fight that's going on down outside the top 10 of those two, because Rob Cooper is down there in 17th position, leading Class C. Neil Hinson is in 16th place. He's currently 3rd in Class D, the way things are. 32 car, we saw David Holroyd have a spin, didn't we, in the early stages of the race. Well, he's starting to work his way back up through the order now, David Holroyd. Still with a huge chunk of work to do. He's inside the top 20 now, having dropped almost at the very tail end of the field following the spin on lap number 1. David qualified 12th quickest, so you expect him to certainly get himself back up into the teens if at all he can. You'll also see a change for second place last time through as well. Ben Simmons had lost out again to Christian Pittard on that lap, so Christian Pittard back up into second place. Back out of Agostini goes that fight that we've been looking at, with Ryan Lewis fighting away with Simon Lancashire for the final place inside the top 10. David Holroyd also still making progress on the 32 car following his spin. He's picked on Rob Cooper. He's also now trying to work his way past other traffic, whilst we are side by side for second place. Very close indeed, and Ben Simmons has made it through. That was going in towards the bomb hole, but he has snuck through and has taken Stephen Nuttall. Now Stephen Nuttall started this lap in the lead. He's going to finish this lap down in 3rd position, because through has gone Christian Pittard, through has gone Ben Simmons. Now Stephen Nuttall, as he comes over the start-finish line, he is now down into 3rd position, and may well, I think, be possibly destined for the pit lane. Now the pit window has, I think, just opened as well, so Chris Buxton may well be able to bring us some news from the pit, but that is into the pit lane, I think. I don't think he came through and over the start-finish line. Stephen Nuttall. Now, is that because the pit window has opened? There's the car. Mechanics. Not exactly feverish activity, but off is coming the hands device. No, that's the problem. Hands device is coming off, which means that it looks as though Stephen Nuttall, who briefly led, is going to be out of the race. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the story as to exactly what the problem is with that car and why, unfortunately, it's failed him on this occasion. So number 46 car out of the race, I'm afraid. So that now promotes up to 3rd. Stephen James at the wheel of number 40 machine. Close as well, but still just 9/10 of a second separating Christian Pittard from Ben Simmons. Two of them propelling their way down towards the bottom section of the Bentley Straight. Traffic coming up for them as well that they'll have to deal with before too much longer. That includes driver's representative in this occasion, Peter French, our race leader, Christian Pittard at the moment, from behind. Squeeze his way through, but that brief spell where he had to get out of the throttle as allowed Ben Simmons absolutely back in his wheel tracks again. So the lead of the race, and nose to tail. Ben Simmons going to try and run the outside at Coram to try and get the inside for Murray's. He's going to try and brave it out. Outside at Coram, inside at Murray's. Job done. Takes up the lead of the race. Of course, now what he's going to do is punch a hole in the air for Christian Pittard, and Christian Pittard, I think, has dive for the pit lane this time through. Christian Pittard comes in as the pit window opens. So pit window opens 10 minutes into the race, stays open for 15 minutes, and then closes for the final 15 minutes of the race. It's my understanding of the regulations. Quick adjustment to the tyre pressures. Christian sitting comfortably. Pit stops need to last for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that is timed from pit in to pit out. So the car doesn't have to be stationary for 1 minute and 30 seconds. It's from when it breaks the beam at the pit lane in to when it breaks the beam at pit lane out. Can't be any less than 1 minute and 30 seconds. And of course, you have to travel down the pit lane at the regulatory speed limit as well. You can't break the speed limit. Is that Chris down there in the pit lane? No, I thought we might have Chris Buxton for the first time to bring us some news from down there in the pit lane. Ben Simmons picking his way through the traffic. Now this is a good fight. This is for third and fourth position now, and this is second and third place, I should say, because we've had Christian Pittard into the pit lane, and through and gaining a place there goes the first of the Spires. So that is place lost, I'm afraid, for number 40 Stephen James. And the Spire that will have snuck through should have been David Watson, because he was running directly behind him as they came over the start-finish line. So that'll put Stephen Watson up into second position at the moment, albeit slipstreaming back as they come down the straight is Stephen James, yeah. So hold in the air utilised. Stephen James having lost a position just a couple of corners ago. Gets the slipstream effect down the Bentley straight. And he's able to rest his way straight away past and back through once more. Both of these cars still to stop, of course. Ben Simmons at the moment in the lead of the race as he managed to build up a 4-second advantage whilst others behind him have either retired in the case of Stephen Nuttall or pitted already in the case of the number 51 car of Christian Pittard. So here comes David Watson once more, sitting right on the coattails of Stephen James as they come over the start finishes line. Jinks out from behind to the right hand side of the circuit. That will give him the inside line as they head in towards the braking air for Ritchie's. Through he goes, retakes second position once more. So Stephen James down into third place. All of the time, these two are giving away time to Ben Simmons, the race leader. They're not particularly, though, getting caught by the cars behind, so John Cutmore is not able to particularly gain any further time. Helicopter coming in is MSV owner, Jonathan Palmer, who fundamental with not just himself but also his right-hand man Giles at MSVR to build the GV4 brand for this year and the new championship that we'll see out later on today. But for Max Evans, we are 15 minutes through this race now, not quite at half distance. Number 14, Ben Simmons, still continuing to lead, still having to work his way through the traffic. Meeting it on the Bentley straight is ideal as far as he's concerned, because it's not going to compromise him at all. He can pick up a bit of a tow if he wants, but eases his way past some of the lesser powered cars running in the Magnificent Sevens. That was Westfield and Stuart Bates. He edged his way past there. 44 car, very subtly different shape to the Caterham. In the early days of Westfield, that is a post-litigation car. There were some subtly different bodies built which were pre-litigation, and that's what they're known as, pre-lit cars, and that was before Caterham took them to court, and they had to change the body style because it was so similar to the Caterham in the early years. Westfield, very slightly different now. To the untrained eye, you might struggle to tell them apart. So, pit stops still continuing at this stage. Several cars still to come into the pit lane. Many of us have already pitted. You can see up to 10th position now has come Christian Pittard. So the number 51 car, remember, wasn't there fighting for the lead of the race. He was one of the earliest to pit. Well, he's now finally worked his way back inside the top 10 as others around him have pitted. But there's still several cars ahead of him that still need to pit as well, including, I think, every car inside that top 10, bar him at the moment. So keep an eye towards that. David Watson in his Spire is still pressing on. The car that comes towards us now. You see the sun glinting off these cars. It really is, albeit rather chilly, but it's a beautiful day here. And whilst the racing continues out on track, I think we can hand you downstairs to the pit lane where Chris Buxton has managed to catch up with the driver.
Down here with the number 46 driver, 4 is Stephen Nuttall. Not the idea of starting the campaign.
No, not at all. It's been a bad luck really. We've been chasing an electrical gremlin in the car for the last couple, which the guys have worked tirelessly at Team Leos to sort. We thought we had it late last night. Luke and I were on a dyno at 12 o'clock last night. We came away thinking it was sorted. He's come back as these electrical gremlins are on to do, so it was okay to qualify, but just losing a bit of power. Same thing as the last few laps of that race. We've been dead on low, but I can drive around it. Then my last race, it really came in badly, so just losing so much power is going to hurt the car, so it's better to retire it and get it running